Hello everyone, Skinnyelbowz here, and today, I'm gonna read a book. Yes, I know, very scary stuff on the Skinnyelbowz channel, but I'm trying to become a more intelligent individual, and I heard that this is one of the ways to do it. Now, I've never really liked reading much since I've been younger, whether it be for school or my own personal enjoyment, aka my mom making me. But, hey, maybe I've changed. And come on, what's the worst that can happen?
A few moments later.
Where are all the f***ing pictures? You guessed it. Today we're going to be talking about enclosed instruction books for video games. Yes, the person who doesn't like to read is going to talk about instruction books. How ironic. I briefly mentioned instruction books in my last video, but decided it needed its own designated time to talk more in depth about it. So that's exactly what we're doing today. What are these instruction books? What knowledge do they have inside them? And why have they basically vanished off the face of the earth? All questions that will be answered today.
Hey, dude. I really didn't like the way you threw me on the floor. So could you not do that again?
Now, in order to understand instruction books and their relevance, we need to go back about 50 years ago. The first home console to be released was the Magnavox Odyssey in September of 1972, made by Sanders Associates. Games for this system included classics like tennis, ski, haunted house, and of course, Win. What the f***? Needless to say, these weren't very complex games. Or so you may think. You see, the Magnavox Odyssey wasn't your typical game console that you're accustomed to now. This was more of a board game, video game hybrid. Now, the console itself could only show various dots and lines on the screen, but the console came with overlays to put on your TV, depending on what you were playing. Along with this, the console came with 2 controllers and some non-electrical accessories like cards, poker chips, and dice. I guess we were teaching our kids how to gamble young back then. Now me personally, I wish I knew how to gamble. Seems like so much fun. Yeah, I think I'm going all in. You know what? I'm going all in too. See what you got there, buddy. Go fish! I win! No. What? No, that's not. You can't just. Give me my phone! Now the controllers were very odd. It was this big, bulky block with 2 knobs on the side and 1 button. And let's just say this was not very comfortable to hold and play for long periods of time. This is most likely why every other company later switched to more traditional controllers we see nowadays. So what's the point of me bringing up this old-ass console? Well, this is where our story begins. The Magnavox Odyssey came packaged with 12 games and an instruction manual for the console itself. Now, considering this was very new technology at the time, the manual showed owners how to set up their Odyssey, how to play it, and how it worked. And inside this manual were instructions on how to play each of the 12 games packed inside. This, my friends, was the first instance of instruction manuals in video games. These pages were simple and to the point, and not like anything we would see later down the line with other instruction manuals. I mean, come on, do you really need a lore page for a game called football? This isn't lore, this is just race highlights.
No. It is important for the lore. Now watch.
What lore? And that really sums up the Magnavox Odyssey. The Odyssey wasn't really considered a commercial success, only selling about 350,000 units and being discontinued in 1975 due to poor sales. But can you really blame them? I mean, Atari the same exact year, on November 29th, released the Pong console that completely blew it out of the water. Then, in September of 1977, the Atari 2600 would be released. And now, we can finally start talking more about what this video is actually supposed to be about! Atari's new console is what introduced the world for the template of what these manuals would start to look like in the future. Or more specifically, the Atari game Adventure that came out in 1980. Most games before this would only include how to play the game, and nothing else really. But as stated before, these were very simple games. With Adventure, this game included a lore page that talks about what your goal is, and a little bit about the world you will be exploring. This was very different at the time, and opened the door for more complex games to be made, and also showed that video games could be more than just something fun to do in your free time. It could be used as a form of storytelling. And this was proved even more when Nintendo was brought into the picture. Oh yeah, Nintendo. Haven't been keeping up with them in a bit. Wonder what's going on with them. $80 for a f***ing kart racer?! Hello? What do you mean it gets worse? No! Leave me alone! Ah! Ah! 5 years after Adventure, Nintendo would release Super Mario Bros. To the world. Now, this manual kind of followed the same pattern that we were used to at this time. The lore being in the beginning and then having the how to play section right after. But something interesting that this manual does is that it included some concept art of the levels, enemies, and characters. Alright, I know this is a little bit off topic, but I just found this funny. In the lore page it says, Mario, the hero of this story, maybe? Like, what the f*** do you mean, maybe? Closer to the end of the manual, there are 5 whole pages that describe each enemy you will encounter and how to defeat or avoid them, and even include a little bit of lore about them as well. You would think that's all for the Super Mario Bros. Instruction manual, but you'd be surely mistaken. Now, there are 2 extra pages that have secret tricks on them. If you got excited, I'm sorry to bum you out, but these secret tricks are only the ability to kick a shell and telling you that if you jump on enemies in succession of each other, you'll get more points. You lied to me, you son of a bitch. And that's all for the Super Mario Bros. Instruction manual. Even though the past 2 manuals I've talked about are only 5 years apart, you can see a noticeable improvement between the 2. But from now on, there won't be such big jumps of improvement. The NES set the foundation of what these manuals would start to look like from now on. And for the most part, everyone else followed suit with that template very well. With anything though, these manuals were far from perfect, especially with companies that originated from a different country, like Nintendo and Sega, for example, both originating from Japan. Some of these manuals had interesting translation errors, which makes sense at the end of the day because they are translating it over to a different language and also localizing it for an entirely different audience as well. Something I find even more interesting is that entire names of characters would be completely changed through translation. Here in the United States, Princess Peach was originally called Princess Toadstool, while in Japan she was always referred to as Peach. For Dr. Eggman, he was originally called Dr. Robotnik here in the United States, while in Japan it was called Dr. Eggman. It wasn't until both games first jumped into 3D, not you get out, where both names would be recognized for the first time. In the beginning of Super Mario 64, the letter that Peach sends Mario is signed as Princess Toadstool Peach. This is the first time the US audience sees this name. And for Sonic, we get one of the best introductions to a new name yet.
Look! It's a giant talking
Getting back to manuals, especially when cartridges were still the main thing that games were coming out on, these manuals helped bring the games to life. You didn't need cutscenes to explain the story. Everything you needed to know was right in front of you to read. Yeah, joke's on you, teacher. The only thing I need to read is the Holy Bible and the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 instruction manual. I just got expelled. When 3D graphics became the new standard, games could tell more complex stories in the game itself, and didn't need the manuals to do all the heavy lifting when it came to story. Along with teaching the players how to play the game with in-game tutorials. Hey, if you want to hear more about that, just check out my last video. With all that being said, instruction manuals held on strong. That was until the 7th generation of consoles released. You see, in the PS3 and 360 era of games, most games only came with these small pamphlets in them with no manual in sight. Now, don't get me wrong, there were still games with manuals inside, but not nearly the norm that it used to be. And now you look at games and there's no paper manuals in sight at all. So the question is, why? Why have they disappeared? Why have companies stopped caring about putting paper manuals inside the games? But I think the real question to be asked is, why would companies put paper manuals in games now? I mean, video games now do everything the manuals used to do. It teaches you how to play the game in the game. It shows movie-like cutscenes to portray the story that the company or people that are making the game want to portray. There's no need for a 40-page manual like the original Legend of Zelda had, telling you the backstory of Hyrule, all the different weapons/items you could collect, enemies you will face, and the entire world map included as well. And if you really want to test this theory, Breath of the Wild includes all of this with no manual in sight. Honestly though, it goes even deeper than that. The fact of the matter is, nobody's buying physical games anymore. With Xbox Game Pass being as popular as it is, PC gaming just existing, and most sales on games being on online stores anyways, there's no real reason to buy games physically anymore. Unless you want the collector's edition, which costs an arm and a leg and doesn't even include the actual f***ing disc! Here you go, buddy. Hope you like it. Oh boy, I hope it's a raccoon. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but please tell me what the f*** I'm supposed to do with this.
What you see in the box is a code to get a 3D model of those shoes on your computer. And you get a really cool box that comes with it too. Isn't that exciting?
This is exactly what my mom disowned you. Even though it's sad to say, physical media is dying out. And it's not just in video games, it's movies as well. With all these streaming services that are out, no one's going out to buy a Blu-ray. Everything's online now. Hell, even books have online stores too. You can read books online, and also there's audiobook options where someone could just read the book to you. Finally, my dyslexic ass can understand what's happening in a book now! Wow, that's crazy. Damn, really?
Oh, you gotta be f***ing kidding me!
What? What happened? Ah! I hate books. with the ability to kick a shell and... Yes!